Holy shit, folks. Finally, the day I've been waiting for since the announcement last summer 2021 has officially arrived. Nagatoro is here, folks, and she is coming in full force. This episode is so freaking good. Like, I I know I'm probably a little biased because the first season was like one of the best things in the world to me, and like that summer nothing could beat it. Like, it made me so freaking happy, and it's just that like cliche tease love type of anime romance, but at the same time, from what I hear from people in the manga and just in general, that it gets even better and better, and this first episode really stepped up and proved that to me. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this episode and talk about it. So the first thing we get is we see these two characters we've never met before, and the male is pretty much bossing around the chick, and because she's the student council secretary, and he's just the president, and he's just being an asshole. So she stays up all night, frickin' doing whatever he told her to do, and she comes to school the next day, and is walking by him taking this exam and sees that he's cheating. So she ends up taking a picture of it, and afterwards, he does see that she does take a picture of it, and they meet up in the room that they were in before, and he's like, well, she says, I'm not gonna tell nobody. However, and like you could tell that he's gonna make her do whatever the heck he wants or she wants him to do, which is really funny. And then we find out that Paisen's reading it, and it's this manga called what was it, Love Dive or something along those lines. And we find out that Nagatoro actually reads it too, even though she's technically teasing him because it's like a rom-com-esque story. And he's like, like what's weird about that? I don't think there's anything weird about that. And she's like, oh no, I read it too, but I'm ahead of you. But she's like, we should reenact something from this. And so he's all like, oh yeah, the first chapter ain't so bad, whatever the hell. And so she's like, oh no, we're gonna do something further into the story. And we come to see the scene where they're like in this park and everything, and she spills like water on her leather shoes, and she tells him to lick it off her nice leather shoes. And a little bit before this, we come to find out that Nagatoro actually just got leather shoes herself, coincidentally. So of course both of them are like, yeah, and then he's like, no, stop, but he goes to block it off, right? And what other thing would happen in this series other than it spilling on her shoe, right? So it spills on her shoe, and unlike the first series where he's very timid and very non-approached about this, he goes down immediately, and she thinks he's gonna lick it right off, and so she's blushing like a mofo, and he's blushing like a mofo, but then she's just like, oh, and then like come to find out he just takes out a napkin and wipes it off, and she thanks him for it. Now we get our first like real dose, like not that, I mean, that was of course hazing and everything, but we get our real first dose of hazing where Paisen's following Nagatoro down to school. And he's just thinking about how to approach her. So she turns around and pretty much calls him a pervert. And she's, as always, And she's like, there's ways to approach people, without being a creep. I'll give you a, I'll give you a time limit, a nice before I report this to the cops. And so he's like, well, I was just gonna approach you. So she's like, well, I could teach you how. And so she teaches him 4 distinct ways that girls approach each other. And the first one's like, she pokes him right in the cheek, which is, really cute and everything. And she's got a little blush and a wink on her face. And the next one is like a slap to the back, which just not seem good, like, at all. And then the final one is this, or not the final one, but the next one's like a kick to the butt. This comes all full circle here. Everything does. And the last one is like a hug from behind, and he's just like fucking enjoying it, and she's smiling and blushing about it, you know, with enjoyment. And he's obviously enjoying it too, but she's got the excitement enjoyment, and he's just horny enjoyment. So she wants him to test one, but he's not going to do it. So of course, classic Nagatoro style, she's going to harass him and say, you know, I only hugged him for a while and he got a boner. So he stops her, and she's walking forward. And in classic Paizen style, he was gonna just, you know, joke about it, but he falls forward, gets his arms around her, and gropes her fucking tit. It was so freaking hilarious, and she's got this look on her face just of disgust where the shadow goes all over her eye and everything. That is one thing that is so amazing about the show, is the facial expressions, especially with Nagatoro, are the best. Like, oh my gosh, I love it so much. So she like butts him back, and he almost falls over. And then coincidentally, Maki and Yoshi are there, our fucking sidekick team. And I think it was Yoshi kicks him right in the butt and bounces him back up. And so they get invited to this after party after the Culture Fest for them. And which means that this takes place pretty much right after season 1, because the Cultural Festival, with all those drawings Nagatoro that he made, those beautiful drawings that led to, you know, closeness of what they've got now. Fast forward to after school that day, and Nagatoro is a little cold per se, and she ends up buying stockings, which they discuss about how Paizen's like, you know, I thought, you know, women are really strong considering they have to wear skirts all year, which is, it is pretty strong, because oh my gosh, that would be, I mean, I guess legs aren't bad, you know, as a Minnesotan, I can wear shorts all year. It's always the fingers that get cold, but either way, I digress, you know. She gets stockings, and of course, Paizen's obsessed with her legs, because who isn't obsessed with legs? I mean, oh, thighs. Anyways, so she's like harassing him for it, you know, because he's like visually thinking about her thighs, like in a swimsuit, and like all of the times, you know, like her, and like she's like, "Why, you obsessed with my legs? Here, put the stockings on." So, you know, he gets to put her stockings on. We get a little Nagatoro feet and legs, and it's pretty nice. But Paizen's like over there trying not to pop one, and like he's like, just think about putting a radish in a bag, and then like, and of course she's like enjoying it. She's like got some sweat and some blush because he's taking his precious freaking time to do it, and he's just like, it's so soft. No. Behave. And like he just goes back and forth till he gets the thigh all the way to the top. And he's like describing how squishy it is, and she's like, oh, okay, we're done now. And she traps his hand in her thighs, and it oh my gosh, enjoyment. So they get the call to head to and we find out this after party is actually just a sushi joint. And initially when they get there, Paizen's next to the actual sushi rail, and so everybody's having him grab a bunch of stuff for them. And then finally, for once, like Nagatoro actually like stands up for him, and like she's like, look, Paizen, I'll get something for you. And she like stands up and grabs something out the cart. I think it was sashimi. I don't think it was sushi. It might have been either or. But she grabs that for him, and her boobs are pretty much right in his face. And next thing you know, she's like, you know, Paizen was the star of our culture festival, so we should treat him. So of course, Yoshi makes him this like specific piece, and so does Maki. And then we get to see Sakura has actually showed up finally, and they all make him these special sushi roll pieces, kind of like 50-50 with other things. Until Nagatoro, I could see it every time in her eyes when he's enjoying it. She's getting more and more and more like salty about it, because you know she's like very possessive of Paizen, to say the least, which is cute and I love it. But so she makes him one, and they get this joke about it, and she's like, senpai, you might be pregnant, because of what she adds onto the sushi roll. And obviously he enjoys that one the most, so everybody wants the same thing, and it just ends very wholesomely. And that's the end of the episode. Thoroughly enjoyed this episode. Obviously the intro was supreme, and same with the outro, but that intro was tight. And of course the one and only Sumeri Yusaka, who does the voice for Nagatoro, did the intro and outro again this season, like she did last season. And like, you should watch her music videos if you ever have time or interest, because she does a really good job with her music videos, along with obviously her voice acting and her singing. I know she also did the intro for Why the Hell Are You Here, Teacher, and I can't remember if she did a role, but I think she might have. But oh man, she's so talented. And this whole cast, I love them. I love them so much. And I know there's a few more characters we actually get introduced to this season. And of course, we didn't see Sana. But man, what a freaking banger. Great episode, but waiting, like I said, waiting there is forever. Realistically, between this and D for DJs are probably going to be my favorites of the season for like personal taste. However, I am watching plenty more, so we'll see how that goes. But that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. It was a very good episode. The pacing was great, and it was good to see the gang back together again, getting into action and trouble, and just teasing. So with that being said, thank everybody for watching, and if you liked this video and you made it this far, please give me a like, and if you want to sub, go for it. That has been Squids, and I will see y'all in the next video. Peace!